Hey guys, what is up? Jeff here for One Fish, Two Fish. Today we are going to do another video in our One Fish, Two Fish Explain series. Today is just a very basic, a lot of you guys are already going to know, are already going to have some of this stuff, but we do get asked a lot from beginners, what is the difference between a canister filter towards a sump? This is mostly for salt water. You obviously can use either of these with fresh water or salt water, but usually the question arises much more with a saltwater tank. So what we're going to do today is we're going to show you a handful of options. Now, you can use either of these. These are, to me, in essence, the same thing. One is a much bigger version of the other. Both do relatively the same thing. A canister filter or a sump. Basically what its job is to suck water from your fish tank, run it through what you're going to use to clean the water, and spit it back out the other side. So as I show you the different sizes, the different varieties, I'm going to show you what we have in stock. So we've got, I keep looking over here because that's where all my stuff are. I'm going to show you a couple of eShop sumps. There is different varieties for all of these. There is a lot of different varieties of sumps out there. There is a handful of varieties of canister filters. We stock a couple of them, mostly the ones we like, but for the most part, they all do very similar things. They all suck water in, they do what they have to clean it, and they spit water out. We're going to show you a couple of options of what we stock and why we stock them and why we like them. Same with the sumps. We're going to show you a couple of different varieties, and in the end, the option is really up to you. Running a sump is the cost to the money. Running a sump is definitely a little more money. The sumps usually run a little bit more than the filters do, and then they can run a lot more if you go with certain kinds that are a lot more money. And then also on top of that, when you add a sump, you do need a return pump because it will, usually when your tank is plumbed, it will run into the sump. I'm going to show you an option on our Red Sea Reefer here. It will run into the sump. You do need to wait for it to return back to the tank, which is what your overflow is going to do. So just really quick, we're going to show you guys a couple of options for filters that we sell for the canister filters are your Fluval 1.0 series. So now these go 107 is the newest version, 107, 207, 307, 407. Now they also do have a much bigger FX4, which does up to 250 gallons, and then an FX6, which does up to 400 gallons. Now, you have to remember when that says how many gallons it can do, it is telling you at full capacity. It really shouldn't say, it should be a recommended, because it's very much on what you put in the filters and the way they come out of the box. I think the recommended is a little bit high. I would not think it would do that on a fully stocked tank. So say a 400 gallon tank stocked with cichlids, that out of the box, I wouldn't love it. I could certainly add some stuff to it. Basically anything that holds bacteria is great. Marine Pure, there's a handful of options that work really well that can hold more bacteria, that will make it easy, make it run for you longer. And then also we've got your Eheim Classics, which are a little bit cheaper. I know a lot of the Eheim guys just love the Eheim filters, and then they also have a professional series as well. Again, just kind of small, medium, large is what they all do. So the biggest one is very similar to the 407 Fluval filter. So just to give you a quick idea of a couple of the sumps, what we have in stock now are the eShop series. So we have the Reef Sump, and then we also have the Aquafuge Sump. So the difference is going to be, I'll show you the pictures here. You can kind of see this one. The Aquafuge actually adds an extra compartment for the refugium, where I'm probably a little bit close to that here, where the Reef Sump is just basic sump. Your water drops in here. It goes through the exact same as a canister filter would. It drops through here in your filter socks. So your filter socks are just a much better version of a sponge, and then it goes through whatever media you put in there to clean it, and then your return pump goes to the end and spits it all back out. With this version, it does have an extra compartment, so it comes through the same as it does here. It goes through your filter sock, and then it will go through your refugium, where you can put, again, whatever you decide to put in there to grow, chaeto, or whatever. and then it goes back into the other, and then over to the return pump, and then it goes back to the same. So the exact same thing is done with the canister filters. It is just, I find with the sumps you get a little more to it. So this is an actual, so this is a Red Sea reefer. These are very nice sumps. Just a really quick shot of our reefer here. I'm actually going to do a video to give you guys an update. We actually finally got around to prettying this up a little bit. So this is an idea of what one will look like actually filled up. So with this one, it actually has an auto top off, a reservoir for RO water sitting right on it. So what happens is the water comes down here, the same as a canister filter would. It goes through the 2-3 filter socks, depending on what sump you have. And then it comes over to this. This also has the refugium. We're not really using it so much as a refugium, to be honest. You can see a little Chaeto and stuff there. But then it just comes into this, just the exact same as a canister filter, another compartment. And then it slides over into the next, which is usually where you will put a skimmer in a saltwater tank, or whatever you see fit, media reactors, whatever. And then it goes around and back into the return pump, and then goes back in. So like a filter, you know, it just has an input and an output. This is basically your input, called an overflow box for a salt tank, and then right next to it, also you kind of see the water spitting out, is just your output. So basically it goes in there and then spits it out there. Very simple, very easy. Exact same can be said with your canister filters. It goes in one and it gets to clean. The biggest difference, other than, like I said, it does cost a little bit more for the overflow version of it, is going to be your space. I like the Fluval, the Eheim can be said as well with them. I like the Fluval canister filters because what they give you is just three, basically, they come with everything in them, but they just give you three big areas of space. You can put whatever you want in them. Sumps are the same way. They come sort of designed with a way to use them. Water comes through here, goes through here, goes through here, and then back to your tank. You put whatever you want in them to make them pretty, to make them keep your tank pretty, to lower the work of your tank. The Fluval canister filters are very much user-friendly. They don't confine you to having to use their media, to having to use any of their stuff. You can make your own. You can put a sponge, you can cut the sizes, you can put basically whatever you want in them, which is why we find it's one of the ones we recommend. It's one of the ones we sell. We like it for that. Same as with the sumps. The problem, or the benefit to the sumps is the size. Your canister filter, for the most part, is going to be 2 feet high by about a half a foot deep, a half foot long. That's what you're going to get. With your sump, you get a lot more space. 100% a saltwater tank can run on a canister filter. You've seen it lots. You've seen lots of YouTube people do it. I have run a 90-gallon reef tank on an FX6. You know, you can stick lots of media in them. The issue is cleaning them. I do find sumps are much easier to clean. Sumps are much easier to move stuff around. The size is going to be your biggest advantage. You are going to be able to add reactors, skimmers, a lot more media in them. You could put in one of those skimmers, in comparison to, say, the biggest FX6, you could put 2 or 3 times the media in one of those, which is how you're going to clean your tank, which is how you're going to prolong the life of everything in your tank. It does give you the added to do it. So when you're asking what is the difference between a canister filter and a sump, the ability to add more to it is in the canister filter based on the sump. You do get a lot more space with the sump. But in actuality, they both do the exact same thing. They both take water in one area, they move it through whatever you put in it, and then they have something else, a pump, to just pump it back up. So they are very similar in that, you know, they're both there to clean your water. The sump, I find you do get a lot more area to use to clean the water. So really, again, very simple. They both do 1 and 2. If you're looking for something like that, it does depend on size. I do find the bigger tank you go, anything over like a 55-gallon tank, I think you will benefit very much from a sump. If you're going to do a 20, 30, 40-gallon, you could certainly get away with canister filter and be fine. Just remember to keep an eye on the media, and you can always, we have a lot of customers that run 2 canister filters and find it's a lot less work. So there you go, guys. That is just a very quick how-to difference on why the canister filter to the sump with either a salt or a freshwater tank. Thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, any comments, any helpful stuff, make sure you put it below, and we'll see you in the next one.